Got Senator McCormack here from Windsor County. I'll give you just a chance to say what we might have to look forward to in the next session.
Well, I think looking back to the last session, the veto threat from the governor and the inability of the House of Representatives to override Governor Douglas's vetoes resulted in a kind of depressing effect on a lot of our legislation. And I'm afraid that the election has not changed anything. We're going to have a somewhat, an occasionally timid Democratic presence, a somewhat hostile Republican presence on the environment. Although, in fairness, there's some good environmental Republicans, and we got some of our Democrats have been very disappointing. One prominent Democrat in the Senate actually saying that he's still not convinced on global warming. I'm thinking, what does it take? I mean, what he's really saying is, I haven't read a word about the subject in 20 years, is probably what that really translates to. But the governor remains hostile to the environment. He refers to the environment as, quote, a special interest. I teach government, and I use the environment as the best example of a public interest issue. And but the governor apparently considers the environment to be a special interest. He thinks the environmental concerns are only of concern to people called environmentalists. Other people, what he would consider regular people, apparently can breathe dirty air and it doesn't harm them, or at least they don't care. So what we're going to be dealing with is the same issues we had over the last 2 years. We're going to be dealing with energy conservation. We're going to have to deal with Vermont Yankee. And the argument's going to be made that even though Vermont Yankee is falling apart before our very eyes, even though it involves contaminating the earth with plutonium for over 20,000 years into the future, that we're going to have to relicense it because it supplies a third of our energy needs. And that word need is a tricky word. Right now we define need as anything anybody gets it into their head to want. We need the energy necessary to save people from having to look at clotheslines. We need the energy necessary for people to idle their engines for 20 minutes when they go shopping. I mean, it's really quite preposterous. We're a very wasteful society, and a lot of people think we need that energy. So one of the things I'm going to be fighting for is that if we are going to be kind to Vermont Yankee on the grounds that we need the energy, that we first have to exhaust every conservation possibility that's out there and fully exhaust every possibility of renewables. And that's a hard sell in Vermont. We're patting ourselves in the back for great environmental legislation passed in the late 1960s. We are not environmental leaders in this state. We are real foot draggers.
How does the economic crisis play out at your guys' level?
Well, providing energy will help us economically. And the environmentally destructive forms of energy become increasingly expensive. But there is a view, not just in the public, but in the legislature, that protecting the environment is a luxury that maybe we can't afford in hard times. And that's going to be another one of the hard sells, that hard times are actually reasons to become more protective of the environment rather than less so.
Well, thank you for your time and your candor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.